I don't know how you have it set up. So. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jared Gray, my co-host Jordan Rains, and the Dynasty Chef Steve. What's up, fellas? How are you doing?
Doing good.
Morning.
As good as I can after that game last night.
Well, that's how it is. We are a proud partner of expandtheboxscore.com. Great stuff over there. Doing some revamping, and it looks amazing so far. So you guys need to go check that out when you get a chance, for sure.
Hey, they got a Black Friday special going on right now.
They do have a Black Friday sale or Cyber Monday sale.
Or Cyber yeah, that's right, Cyber Monday.
So it's
Black Friday.
$10 off the entire thing, so or $10 for the entire year. So go check that out. It's a good deal.
Oh yeah, it is.
All right, let's get to this studs. I guess we might as well just hit off with the linebackers right away. And well, Roquan Smith having a monster day the other day.
Yeah, that Thursday game, he went off.
15 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits. I mean, he went bonkers.
I mean,
he's having the game I think we've been waiting on for him.
Yeah, definitely his best game of his career, I think. Statistically, he crushed.
Well, that's the best game of a lot of people's career. You know what I'm saying?
It is the Lions. And
15 total. Hey, I mean, just how it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Just playing that third string quarterback.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
David Bell had a pretty good game, though.
Pretty good game, but yeah.
15 tackles is hard work by itself, and then to throw 2 sacks in there.
Yep.
And it is Thanksgiving, so it was a big stage, and I mean that's one of the games that everybody watches. I mean
it was a pretty big game on both sides of the ball.
So it was good for him to really show up and show out. Like I said, he hasn't had a game quite like this all season. So Roquan Smith owners are getting what they wanted all along.
Getting it. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, ever since Dane Trevathan went down, he's played pretty well. But I mean, again, you kind of called that one last week. You expect him to start playing a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody expected 15 tackles, but
nobody expected this kind of a game, but it's really nice to get it. I think he's pretty close to. He's either the number one or he's a top 3 linebacker this week, because we actually had the next 2 guys, or a couple of the other guys we're going to talk about, Devin White and Darius Leonard. They both had very good games themselves. Leonard had, another linebacker who had 2 sacks this week, which is kind of crazy. 11 tackles, a tackle for loss, 3 quarterback hits for Darius Leonard.
It's bonkers too.
We kind of knew what he had. He showed off last year, but I mean, he's still doing it this year.
I mean, the young linebackers, you got to feel good about the league in the next couple of years. I mean, Roquan, Devin, Darius Leonard, Devin White. Devin White's a rookie. The other 2 are in their sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy the flip-flop the 2 Devins have taken.
Yeah. That's a great point. But
mm-hmm.
I mean, we say that Devin Bush had a pretty good day yesterday. I mean, even Jordan was talking about it. He had 7 tackles in 5 minutes or something.
He had 7 tackles. We were just a few minutes into the second quarter. But the weird thing is that was what he finished the game with.
Yeah, that was it.
Which is very.
It's funny because after you said that, I realized he went to spying and dropping in coverage. So
yeah, I did. I saw him on the field a lot. I saw him out there, but I never saw him get another stat the whole game. I thought he might have had a pass deflection there towards the end, but then that didn't come to fruition. So,
well, the reason why I didn't get the pass deflection is it was tipped at the line. So somebody else actually got it before him. So technically,
that makes sense.
I think it was Stewart actually who had a monster game.
I mean, I still think Devin White is. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him as a long-term asset. He's not the guy that you started the season out with. He's Devin Bush. Sorry, you're right, Devin Bush, because he's not getting those big plays necessarily anymore. He did have one last week, but He's not on the field all the time like he was to start the season for whatever reason. And that hurts his tackle floor, So I think long term he's still going to be great. I mean, we saw at the beginning of the season what he did as a rookie. First 2 or 3 games out of college, he was already one of the best linebackers in the league for IDP. They've kind of been jerking our chain around a little bit. So yeah, I mean, Devin White seems to have down the stretch here supplanted himself as the rookie linebacker to have.
Yeah, and it's funny because in my rookie IDP 411, I said the two guys that were my top guys were the Devins, and I said it's a coin flip. Well, what happened with Devin White is he got injured, and then you're like, well, guess it's gonna be Devin Bush's show to go, and then Devin White gets healthy again, and then wow, I mean he has been flat out balling
Lights
ever
out.
since he came back from injury.
Yeah.
And to see what he put up yesterday, five solo tackles, 2 assists, a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit, was it 2 pass deflections, an interception, and a fumble recovery and a touchdown. All right, buddy, have you a day.
Yeah, have a nice big day.
It's funny because that game was over right away. You know what I mean? And they put 20 points pretty quick and then just sat there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all thanks to Nick Foles. I mean, I don't know what he was doing yesterday, but it was not trying to win a football game.
No. Oh, and he got injured too, right? So
did he?
Yeah, it was coach's decision apparently, but
part of the I'm looking at some of the the percentages. It's kind of weird what they're doing in Pittsburgh right now. Bud Dupree and TJ Watt are leading the linebackers with 97 and 94% of snaps played. And then your more traditional linebackers, Mark Barron and Devin Bush and Vince Williams, I mean, they're playing 78, 74, and 38% of snaps. So, I mean, they kept their rushers out there pretty much the whole game.
Well, I mean, kind of smart to an aspect, but it's funny we talked about the Patriots not running the ball last night. What was working for the Browns were they couldn't be stopped in the beginning of the game running the ball. I mean, they were just pounding, and then something changed, and they, after they turned the ball over that one time, it feels like they just had to keep going after it. And Baker hurt his hand, and then here they come. They tried to pretty much pass the ball the rest of the game, which was really interesting to me.
The Browns ended up losing, right?
Yes, they did by a touchdown.
Okay.
And they had an opportunity at the end to come back, and they're trying to push the ball with the last minute, and Baker overthrows Landry for an interception to Joe Hayden, which is
good old Baker whipping it up.
Baker's played pretty well overall.
Boy, Corey Littleton, he showed up yesterday in the positive column. He had 8 tackles, a sack, quarterback hit, tackle for loss. I mean, that's a good day. He was in my rankings graphic this week. I realized he's been good all season. I haven't put him in any of them, so I think I had him at like 6 this week. So he came out and he put up some solid numbers. But I mean, you pretty much expected that from him, though. I mean, he's had 1 or 2 down weeks all season, but he's been rock solid.
Yeah, he's really consistent. He's usually good for a big play. His big play yesterday was pretty much the sack. But when you get a consistent player from the middle, from your linebacker position, who came in because of an injury, really, and then to blow up like he did, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And he's just been rock solid, and like you said, I mean,
it's going to be interesting to see if LA can keep him around with all the inflated contracts they have sitting around. He's one of their better players, but they've got Goff on contract, they got Gurley on contract, they got Donald on contract, they got Jalen Ramsey not on contract, but they're going to have to try to keep it unless they want to look like complete dumbasses trading for him. So Robert Woods has not a huge contract, but he's got a little bit of money tied up. Brandon Cooks, there's a wasted contract if I ever saw one. But they got a
Well,
lot
yeah.
of guys that they need to get paid on this team, get sorted out. I mean, Taylor Rapp, I mean, he got a couple of years on his rookie contract, but he's showing himself to be, get a little ahead of ourselves. But he's showing himself to be a really, really good safety this year. I was looking at some of his PFF grades. He's like one of the top graded safeties on the season.
Yeah, he's a baller, dude. And like you said,
Mhm.
they've got. But here's the thing, right?
6
Defense
yesterday.
wins championships, so
Mhm.
they're gonna have to pay the defensive side more than the offensive side. You can get rid of Brandon Cooks, no problem, right?
Mhm.
I'd be shocked if he's there after this year anyway. To be honest with you,
Mhm.
Yep.
they gave a first round draft pick for him, ended up being a waste, to be honest with you. And I mean, they gave a run to Super Bowl, right? But they've now got rid of both corners that they had, right? So they released some money there. They got to get rid of Brandon Cooks. They could get a much better receiver. This draft class for receivers is pretty stout.
I've never understood the Brandon Cooks thing. Like, I mean, he's always talked about very highly. He always has another 1,000-yard season. I'm like, but that's it. Like, we're talking like 1,000 yards, not 1,001 yards. Like, this guy is the bare minimum, and he literally has games. He was Amari Cooper. He was not Amari Cooper this year, but Amari Cooper before this year when he would just disappear. That was Brandon Cooks, but without as much upside. It would be you'd have games where he'd have 5 for
Yeah, he's not as
140.
tall. I mean, he's not flat. He's just fast. I
He's
mean,
fast, and even his route running is not anything really special. His hands aren't anything special. I mean, it's just he can get behind guys sometimes. Like that's always seems to be like the only thing he's got. And people wanted to compare to Tyreek, and I've been a Tyreek believer literally since like week 3 or 4 of like his rookie season. And I was like, this guy is nothing like Brandon Cooks. He's so much better than Brandon Cooks. He was
yeah.
even as a rookie. He was.
I mean, obviously, I deal with Tyreek Hill when he was at Oklahoma State, and watching Brandon Cooks when he was in college, there was no really comparison, to be honest with you.
Exactly. And it was weird. Brandon Cook seems like he's just gotten very fortunate to play for Drew Brees and then Tom Brady during, their prime basically, and that got him moved to flashy, hot new LA because he was a movable asset to these people. So, anyway, we're getting a little off track.
A little sidetrack.
Basically, Brandon Cooks is a waste of money. Pay Corey Little.
I mean, in general, we're talking about just going to have to pay the defensive side of the ball. Corey Little and Taylor Rapp. Going to have to get some corner play, see what they're going to do because they just got rid of both their guys. And ever since Marcus Peters left, he's been balling, except for he missed some tackles yesterday.
Yeah.
But overall, he's played pretty well. Back to the linebacker aspect, Shaq Barrett had another good game. Bud Dupree had another good game. Anthony Walker right next to, Darius Leonard, who had a pretty solid game. Was a top 11 linebacker, had 8 solos, 4 assists, half a sack, half for tackle for loss.
There it is.
Pretty solid.
That'll help boost your numbers for sure. Getting a half a sack at linebacker.
Yeah,
that's basically what happened to Zach Cunningham last night. He didn't do much, but he ended up getting a half a sack on Brady. So he ended up with a half decent day. He had like 7 tackles, half a sack, maybe like half a tackle for loss.
He was going nowhere but down after the week he had the week before. So
yeah.
Do you know what happened to Derek Wolfe? I mean, he had a decent game, and then it sounds like he might have got injured.
I feel like I vaguely remember watching this play. I had to go to a parade yesterday afternoon, so I was kind of in and out watching the games. I only watched about, I don't know, maybe 65-70% of the football that happened yesterday. So, and I was not watching the Denver game, and that was that afternoon game. So I missed it.
I mean, he had 2 solos, 3 assists. We can get to them in a little bit when we get to our linemen, but I just remember him going out, and he even has
he's popped up, like we said on the show. He pops up about every other week. Derek Wolfe does.
Yeah,
I mean,
ever since
Chubb, Von Miller was inactive too yesterday. So kind of finish out the linebackers. Fred Warner, he's another double-digit tackle game 11. Basically a game sealing pass deflection, or not a game sealing, but giving his team a chance to get in there with a pass deflection, but they still ended up losing towards the end of the game. He's playing really
close.
good. Yeah, that was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Smith, 14 tackles on Thanksgiving, so there's something to be thankful for. He's my, I think Jalen. I said this the other day. Jalen Smith is my dynasty linebacker 1 right now. I flip flop between him and Darius Leonard for a little while.
Darius Leonard's still got to be my number 1.
I would. It's just Darius Leonard has, with his
Darius Leonard's had a concussion.
You're right.
Devin Smith has had a full blown out knee injury where he didn't play for his entire.
Yeah, but that was There's recency bias. I mean, I'll admit that, but that's been years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And Darius Leonard's concussion issue was just 2 months ago, and it lasted for damn near a month. So
yeah, but ever since he came back, he's been balling out. He's been a top 5 linebacker ever since then. So for me, Darius Leonard's got to be right there. But I mean, I'm okay with your Jalen Smith being a dynasty 1. I mean, he's still I would say, even if he's a top 5, he's a dynasty 1. So
yeah, he's a stud.
But right now, I'm feeling pretty good about Devin White over the next couple of years being a dynasty linebacker. So
agreed.
Yeah, especially if they can't clean that defense up. I mean, it's got good players on it, but it might be one of these defenses where it's just got good players on it. You know what I mean?
And I think it just might be a little bit of their backs, because honestly, let's talk about this. They've got JPP.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Shaq Barrett, Dominican Sue. I don't know if they're going to pay him much longer than a year. Devin White, Levante David. They really just got to take care of the backside, which
they need a good corner and a good safety.
They released Vernon Hargreaves. They're definitely going to go after a big corner and big safety this next year.
There's supposed to be a good corner year this draft too. I've been hearing a lot about.
Yep, really good.
Well, I mean, if they pay attention to trends, they'll do something with Ndamukong Suh, either pay him or get somebody as good as similar. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really opened up their line. I guess I'm gonna bring up not a massive game, but Deion Jones is. Ever since we've been talking mad shit on him like 3 weeks in a row, he put up basically 9 tackles every week and then a little extra. He had 9 tackles and a pass deflection this week. So he's been consistent all season. I've been watching, early in the year he was kind of low on the tackle leaderboard and stuff like that, but he's slowly working his way up there. Actually, last week he and our homie Devondre Campbell were tied for tackles, which Devondre Campbell's been ahead basically all season. So Deion Jones has just been whittling away at it, closing that gap. So he's still, I mean, I guess he's getting a little bit more of his speed back.
Yeah, he definitely has come back really strong. And maybe, you know, they have the announcer jinx. Like that's a real thing, by the way. Like it's funny. Like, oh well, this guy hasn't missed a field goal all year long. And
yep, there it goes.
Right.
Yeah,
it's just how this goes. Like all this, I have 255 passes without interception. Boom, interception.
51 interception.
It happens all the time, right? So, yep, called out Deion Jones, and since then he's woke. I mean, the Atlanta defense in general has, woke up in the last 3 weeks. It's like they came back off the bye week and then, hey, let's play defense. I mean, the offense ain't doing a plug nickel, but
yeah.
But I mean, so in that aspect, it's kind of interesting to watch.
Let's talk about some defensive line guys.
Let's go right off the top. Carlos Dunlap and Hubbard both had a big game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about that on the show. You can see that coming. I mean, no one on this show has been a Jets supporter. I mean, it seems like it was hot to get on the Jets bandwagon about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and they were just going to do all this stuff and be really good. And Sam Darnold, I mean, just you heard it all. They suck. They're one of the worst teams in football, bar none. I mean, they got completely mopped by a team that hasn't beat anybody all season.
Yeah, they got straight mollywop by Cincinnati.
Completely beat down like a little like just it was ugly. It was ugly. But I mean, it's what you expect if you've paid any attention to the Jets. And a lot of that came from this defense. I mean, these guys, like you said, Carlos Dunlap, what do you have, 3 sacks?
He had 6 solos, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, an assist, 6 quarterback hits, a pass deflection.
QB hits. Damn. That's wild.
That's getting
you're only dropping back like, what, 40, 50 times a game, and you already got this guy in your grill. Just him. And that's not even counting Hubbard. Hubbard had his best game, well, not his best game in a while, really. I mean, the last week and this week, he's shown life again. He got a sack, 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, a quarterback hit. I didn't play him. He ended up getting like 9 points in the league.
Well, I said that, hey, guys, I got to switch him in my lineup because I had Matt Ioannidis and Sheldon Richardson. I said, I don't think Sheldon Richardson's going to have the same week he did last week. So I'm gonna switch him out. I want to put Hubbard in, and I did, but I didn't click save, and
oh man,
so pissed about it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm in trouble. I mean, I'm up like 100 points, but I'm playing the person that has all the Seahawks on the planet on their team. So
yeah, you're screwed. Actually, I don't know. This could be tonight's game. Is the crazy thing is we're all in a bunch of leagues, and this is that win and get in week, and I'm in like 4 or 5 different leagues where there's like 5 or 6 guys fighting for 1 or 2 playoff spots. And all day yesterday, after all the games, nothing is decided. Like everything comes down to tonight's games, and it's crazy. Like that's me included. Like
bonkers.
It looks a certain way for a few people here and there, but it's not like, okay, this shit's lined itself out. Like it's gonna be one of those weeks where so many people get in the playoffs on whatever the fuck happens the last 3 minutes of this game tonight. And it's gonna be, I can't wait for the Twitter shitstorm to just blow up tonight. I can't wait.
It's gonna be hilarious if Cincinnati plays themselves out of that number 1 spot.
It's gonna be hard to do. They'd have to win. Because who's the next losing this team?
They got to play Cleveland twice.
Yeah, and Miami's won 4 now, right? 3 or 4.
Did Miami win yesterday?
Yeah. Remember what I told you?
What about who's the next losing? It's the Giants.
We should stream the Eagles defense.
I think the Giants have the number. Don't the Giants have the number 2?
That's what I was telling you. Like, you guys were all keen on the Eagles defense. And
I wasn't. You were.
No,
somebody asked us on the show if they should play the Eagles defense or the Chargers defense. I said the Chargers defense.
Yeah, well, they said the Eagles defense, and I'm watching Miami average 20-something points a game over the last 6 or 7 weeks. I'm like, nah, bro, I can't do this. So I stuck with Indianapolis, and it was 17-17 with 6 minutes left, and then boom, they got their butts kicked in the last 6 minutes. But overall, I made the better decision. We'll just say that real quick.
Miami was, I mean, they're not a bad. I mean, they're a bad team, but they have shown they've got some fight in them. And it makes the most annoying part is that Eagles team beat the Bills, and that Eagles team should be fucking 3-11 or whatever. They're so bad. Every time I see Carson Wentz, he looks so scared. I mean, when he's under center, he looks scared.
He's seeing ghosts out there.
He's scared. When he's running around, he's scared. When he's walking off the field, he's scared. When he's walking on the field, he's scared.
I have never been a Carson Wentz fan. Let me just put this out there now. I said it before. I said, listen, when they pay this guy, they're going to be wrong. He's been injured every single season he's been in the league. But, hey, let's pay this guy. What's wrong? It's kind of like Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady has been injured, once his entire life, right? Which made Matt Castle get paid, right? Sam Bradford, right? Injured. But his agent is a miracle worker because that dude got paid his entire career.
He's got more money.
How in the hell has Carson Wentz got paid when he hasn't been played in a single playoff game?
His
team has won a Super Bowl and the playoffs because of the guy they traded away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. Their coach I'm a huge fan of their coach, even when he was at Kansas City. And I know Jordan hated when he left. So the fact of the matter is Carson Wentz shouldn't have got paid. Jared Goff shouldn't have got paid.
Nope.
Blake Bortles definitely shouldn't have got paid.
Nope.
Dak Prescott should not get
Foles
paid.
should not have
Probably
got paid.
not.
Nick Foles
No,
definitely should have
no.
got paid, but twice, by the way, because
Oh,
he keeps doing that.
I know. He's a magician.
I mean, that's just the thing. We've got players that we're paying.
Con artist.
Dude, show me you've done something, right?
Yeah,
Dak is having one of his better years. Dude, Dak has everything.
You know who's going to get paid this offseason?
Dak.
No, TJ Watt.
TJ Watt is definitely
He deserves to get paid, though.
He's on a 9-game sack streak right now. He's got 12.5 on the season. He has so many QB pressures. He's the highest graded defensive or edge rusher by PFF.
Okay.
I just saw a stat that said Bud Dupree in 5 seasons has 27 sacks for the Steelers. TJ Watt has 32.5 in 3. He's never hurt. When he is hurt, he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back to preseason and then the first couple weeks. And I got people busting my balls. I said the best Watt is who?
TJ right now.
I've been on the TJ wagon, right?
I mean,
I think if JJ was playing, he would probably still be statistically beating TJ.
Agreed, but JJ does what?
Never leaves the field.
Gets injured.
And he gets injured.
JJ gets injured, TJ stays on the field.
Yep.
They're the same player, really.
It's his third year, so he should be looking at a fat contract this offseason. Like, he's got whatever Aaron Donald got paid, because I think isn't Aaron Donald the highest paid defensive lineman right now or edge rusher?
Got to be.
He's got to get whatever he got. And
Aaron Donald should have been the number one player voted by the players. He was, number 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got really
good.
He's a beast. But
like I said, they should have never got rid of Ndamukong because
Khalil Mack got a big contract. Whatever Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald got paid, TJ Watt needs to get paid more. I mean,
more than Khalil Mack?
I think so.
Dude, Khalil Mack's still killing it.
Yeah, but I mean, TJ Watt is on that
in
level.
The conversation. Khalil Mack has to be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year still. Still. Got to be. And let's talk about this. We're 2 games out. Who's the Defensive Player of the Year?
For me, it's TJ Watt. It's TJ Watt. Maybe you could throw in, Daniil Hunter. But to me, it's TJ Watt.
Okay.
Not the president.
No. He's had some really big games.
No.
But I mean, like look at him yesterday. I mean, we were talking about guys that disappear. I mean, he has these games every once in a while where he just vanishes. Poof, he disappears. TJ Watts has sacked 9 straight games. That's not vanishing. That's being ever present. So who do you guys think?
And that's the biggest question is, and I would say it's a little bit of a toss-up right now. I mean, people were talking about Nick Bosa earlier in the season. I'm sorry,
he hasn't done anything.
Phenomenal.
He hasn't done anything in like 4 weeks now. He had one big game on prime time.
People got mad at me because I got rid of him. And dude, guess what? Sheldon Richardson's still having a better year than Nick Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
People got mad at me.
I mean, TJ Watt's got 65 pressures, 13 sacks. You know what I mean? He's got a ton of tackles. He's got a super high PFF grade. Shaq Barrett, if he wasn't on such a dumpster fire team, I would say he might deserve it. I mean, he's got
again, Shaq Barrett disappeared for like 3 or 4 weeks. But he's definitely Shaq Barrett is because of why.
I mean, when he's there, when he's on fire.
It's because Ndamukong Suh is so good. Right? So that's why Shaq Barrett had a good year. That's why. No, Aaron Donald is a beast. I've been on the Aaron Donald train ever since he's been in Pittsburgh. But huge.
Well, that's why I say teams got to recognize they got to pay Sue.
And the thing is, he hasn't been the problem he used to be. where he caused some stupid penalties.
Right, he's not like stepping on people with his cleats and stuff, and
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a really good question. That's something I think we're gonna have to pull up. Next week is gonna be a thing for us. How about next week's show? We're gonna decide who our MVPs are.
Let's do our MVP by position, and then let's do our all pro ballots first. Who's our first round, our first team all pro, and who's our second team all pro?
Yeah, sounds good. And then maybe we'll pull up our rookies. Speaking of rookies, how about my boy Ed Oliver coming out balling like a beast?
Finally.
Finally. It's true, though. I mean, he's finally getting some show. I mean, he only had 3 tackles, but technically 4, I guess. 3 solos. But then he had 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, pass deflection, which I expect him to have more pass deflections. I don't know why he just doesn't get up more, and a forced fumble, which was nice to see out of my dude. If you don't know, I'm a huge Ed Oliver fan. I just think they don't play him correctly.
Well, it's nice to see him do it too against Dak. There's certain players it's just fun to see under duress. Dak being one of them. Carson Wentz is another I love to see. Like, help me.
I'm sorry. The most thing I think Dak's gonna be for this year is the jerk.
Oh yeah, the hip rotation thing.
Yeah, when I think of the Dak, that's what I think of. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I can't wait.
That's what I think of.
This offseason, people are gonna have a lot of fun with that.
What's gonna be your most memorable moment from the NFL 100 season?
Dak Prescott.
the Dak is gonna be death. I don't know. It might be for me. It might be Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. The Buccaneers bringing out the ghosts during that game and everything. Oh, they were all wearing ghost costumes for Halloween.
I think my favorite thing this season has just been having football. I'm gonna miss it. It's already so close to being over. Fantasy season anyway. A lot of people's fantasy season ends tonight.
Hey, let's talk about somebody that nobody had on their team ever.
Okay.
And he's a top 10 player this week.
Who?
Chris Odom.
Oh, jeez.
Bro.
Yeah.
Chris Odom's a top 10 player this week. Right. Let's see. He finished with 3 tackles, 3 solos, 1 assist, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble. And nobody. I will bet nobody played this dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say was he in for somebody who was injured on Carolina? I mean, did Brian Burns not play? What happened there?
He plays for Washington.
Oh, he was on Washington. Oh, you know why he played is because Kerrigan missed his first game of his career.
Yeah. I guess maybe people would have, but most people would have jumped on the Matt Ioannidis train.
Or Sweat, Sweat had a pretty decent game yesterday too.
Dude, Washington played pretty well yesterday. I mean, they won.
They ran the ball down their throats and controlled
that's another thing. How did they not give Darius Geis more carries? This dude had 5 carries for like 80 yards or something?
I think he finished today with like 10 for like
his first 2 carries were over 60. But it was weird.
He's on the waiver wire in one of my money leagues right now.
He ain't gonna be in the waiver wire ever this week.
No, I'm 6th position, which I don't understand. It's one of those leagues where the waiver moves around every week, so it's like
I hate waivers that do that.
I know
I'm
in a league where
last week I was 4. Last week I was 4. I didn't pick anybody up, and this week I'm 6. I'm like, okay,
that's crazy. What?
It's super neat.
Fab.
Yeah. Well, I'm in a Fab league too, but it is kind of hard to get waivers perfect. I mean, I like Fab and then I like open waivers afterwards. I'm in a league too where we run Fab all the time. So like on Sunday morning, if you don't have a bid in, like the waivers don't open. You can't just go pick and drop somebody off.
I prefer it to open up.
Yeah, it needs to open up after they run. But the other guy who's in that league, it's me and another guy that commissioned it, and he for whatever reason, is really into it like that. And he's like, oh, it has more strategy. I'm like, yeah, but also is a huge pain in the ass. Like, to have to bid every day. I can't just add and drop at any point ever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Harold Landry came through yesterday for me. 5 tackles, quarterback hit, 1 sack, a tackle for loss.
He's been super stout this year, man.
Yeah.
And, somebody asked me about him early in the season because I had him graded pretty high last year as a rookie. And they're like, hey, do you still believe in this guy? I'm like, well, I mean, I liked him as a rookie. I liked him coming out of college at Boston College. And he's huge. The thing is, they have a lot going for them as a team. Think about this. They have Rashaan Evans, Jalen Brown, who got injured, by the way, Logan Ryan, Kevin Beard. Then we get to Landry and Justin Simmons or Jeffrey Simmons. Dude, they're pretty stout defensively. They're a pretty solid team, and they've got a good running back. If they can figure out their quarterback and wide receiver, I mean, they're going to have to get a new tight end. He's just getting a little old at this point.
Yeah, Delaney Walker, it's the last 3 seasons I feel like he's been out. Juanu Smith was good there, but he's out again too, isn't he? Yep. They need to just get a guy that's solid, rock steady there. And, I mean, Tannehill hasn't been bad at quarterback.
He's been serviceable, but I felt like he's the same guy he was in Miami. He was a serviceable quarterback. And to be honest, he probably had better wide receivers when he was in Miami because Jarvis Landry was there. I mean, it's proven to me, and I've said this from the get-go, Jarvis Landry is a better wide receiver than Odell Beckham. And it's continues to look that way.
Yeah, it looks that way for real now. I mean, Jarvis Landry is doing all the work, and Odell Beckham.
He's just a better route runner. That's the biggest thing.
Honestly, if we're being completely honest, I mean, it's been hot takey the few times I've said it to anybody the past 4 or 5 years, but I've never, ever owned Odell Beckham in a league before until this year. I accidentally auto-drafted him in one league, and I've never really thought there was anything that great about him. He's been everybody up until about 3 months ago. He was everyone's number 1 or 2 dynasty wide receiver. Everyone, and now, like, he's barely talked about. And I think that's really, really, really funny that, he went out and got paid. People talked about what he's done and his rookie year and all this, but it's like, that's all in the past, you know what I mean? And it was all under very different circumstances.
I'll be surprised if he's still there.
And the Browns. Oh, it's crazy to me that he's not already a Patriot. It's also crazy to me that AJ Green is not a Patriot.
Well, I think the thing with AJ Green, the reason he didn't get traded is because he couldn't pass the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew that. So they were like, we're going to hold on to this dude. But AJ Green wants to be a Bengal for life. So, okay, real quick, let's get back onto this. Let's talk about 2 players that's kind of nice to see. Cameron Jordan has been a beast all year. But to see Davenport show up in our group, dude, Cameron Jordan had 5 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, a pass deflection. Any other week, he would have been the main guy, right? But then you've got Carlos Dunlap, who had 6 solo tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, a pass deflection, right? I mean, I don't know how your people's grading goes, but literally this is minute differences here, like because of a half a sack or a solo tackle.
Mm-hmm.
The points between these 2 are ridiculous. Then you got Marcus Davenport, who showed up. Like, I think the Saints expected him to play like this, and that's why they drafted him. 4 solos, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles.
Yeah, right? The 2 forced fumbles are big.
Huge days. We already talked about Ed Oliver. Derek Barnett had a,
decent
big day. I mean, if you can get 6 solo tackles out of a defensive lineman, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, 4 quarterback hits out of him. I mean, loving that. So Derek Barnett might be one of those people who start picking up streaming because he's been playing pretty well versus or Philly. So Trent Murphy had a big day, which him and Ed Oliver both having a big day, both against Dallas, against a really solid offensive line. Just tells you more and more. Dude, Dallas, they need to fire Garrett so bad.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I thought it was happening. It looked like it was going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I mean, it looked like it was happening that day, though.
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean,
he should have been fired 2 years.
I don't think they can win the division now. Can they?
I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Well, I take it. Well,
I think they can. Yeah, I think they can still.
They lost to Miami, so I mean, that's in a. You talk about a week where they could have was taken over. To take that loss was really bad for Philadelphia because they could have moved up in the division and moved up. That whole division is up for grabs right now.
I hope Washington wins it.
Their quarterback plays not good enough.
For defensive backs, we had some good days. Eric Reed, we've talked about him a lot on this show. He is massively underrated for IDP. No one really talks about him. He's been a super stud all season. 9 tackles, 1 sack, a quarterback hit, tackle for loss. Buda Baker, another guy that we've been.
We've been on the Baker train. It's funny. We've
seen a lot of people get on and off the Buda train, but we've definitely been the conductors.
Well, remember I told you that I traded Buda when he got injured last year at the very end of the season for a first-round draft pick. Well, I didn't remember who I drafted, and then I got reminded by Brandon. I drafted Sterling Shepard, who I ended up releasing.
You let Sterling Shepard go in Dynasty?
Well, you forget this year is our last year of the.
Oh yeah, you're right. You
remember we're redrafting this coming year, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could have had Buda Baker all year, and tears.
I'll allow it.
Tears. Jordan Lewis. Did anybody have Jordan Lewis playing this week?
I didn't.
No, for Dallas, who 4 solos, 2 assists, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, a pass deflection.
Yeah.
Have a day, Jordan Lewis. Welcome aboard. This will probably be the last time we speak your name this year, and it is the first time. So, in our stud section, so there's that. Ty Smith from Tennessee, who playing across from Logan, big day. 5 solos, 2 assists, a forced fumble, which is why you're on this list. Wingard Andrew Wingard's been slowly coming on ever since old boy got hurt, huh?
Yeah, pretty much just a marriage of convenience yesterday because
we were talking about who's going to be the guy in that group. So 6 solos, an assist, 2 tackle for loss, a sack, a quarterback hit, a forced fumble. He kind of slowly coming along there. Somebody who I haven't been a believer in finally had a really good game. And honestly, I think it was the weather. Chuck Clark. So 5 solos, 2 assists, a tackle for loss, a sack, a quarterback hit, and a forced fumble.
Gonna give that some of the weather.
So a lot. The thing is when they're going to run the ball. And passing downs you can blitz because the chance of it slipping out of your hands is pretty high. So somebody that I was happy that is in our group, and I was high on him. He's just been really quiet, but he's had a pretty decent year as a rookie. Is Juan Thornhill?
Oh yeah.
3 solos. He had an assist yesterday. He had a pass deflection, an interception, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
I know you were excited about that. So obviously
he's been coming around, which is good. I think Tyrann Mathieu had another pick yesterday too. They're just for IDP, they're not solid. They're not big tacklers up there as far as their safeties, but they show up, like you said, in this segment from time to time, and it's enough, so I'll take it.
We already talked about Taylor Rapp and Eric Reed. Both those guys have been studs all year. Taylor Rapp's going to get paid. Eric Reed comes back, has as good a year as you can think about a guy having. He's going to get paid.
That's the thing too, which was so weird about him. Like, he was very young. I mean, like we've said before, the Colin Kaepernick thing kind of bothered him. That kept him out of the league for a while. But the Panthers, I mean, they hit it out of the park pulling him in.
So this is a real thing. I had an argument the other day on who's a better athlete, and this is a real question. Who's a better athlete, Eric Reed or Colin Kaepernick? I said, dude, are you high right now? And his vote was Colin Kaepernick. I said, listen, I don't know if you know much about Eric Reed. This dude basically destroyed the combine. I mean, his pro day workout, Eric Reed was a savage his entire time in college, right? Goes to San Francisco, blows up, and because he supports somebody, love or hated, that's why Eric Reed was going off the team, right? And
it had nothing to do with his ability to play football.
Yeah. So, but Colin Kaepernick can throw 6 interceptions a game. Eric Reed is not going to disappear, right? This dude is a stud. I mean, and he's young. They got a stud in him behind, kind of an aging defensive team, especially Luke Kuechly's getting older. Shaq Thompson is, a little bit older. Shaq Thompson used to play safety in college. Let's talk about that. And now he's been playing linebacker, but he's had some injuries. So Eric Reed's been stable all year long. He's a guy that has really been fun to watch.
He's been a treasure for any team that's got him.
Yep. Bradley Roby on our list this week.
He blew Tom Brady's ass up last night.
Yeah, he did.
He was literally on hand-to-hand combat with Tom Brady, it felt like.
Oh, man, they left him wide open for the sack, and he just rolled right through there.
This is the fastest sack next gen I saw this morning on Good Morning Football. Fastest sack this season. Like, it was boom, 2.something seconds he was there. And completely untouched, just dead sprint. Because Tom Brady was pretty good. He almost got sacked a couple other times last night, but you know how he is. He does the whole away thing. He barely had time to tuck the ball in as he went down.
Yeah, they left it wide open.
He had an interception too that was this close to being a touchdown, right? Was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was he was 2 yards. He got pulled down 2 yards short of a touchdown, and then he got flagged because he took his helmet off, freaking out about it.
Yeah.
But he had a big game for a corner.
Then there was the one where he almost had an interception, except he was holding. He's
been hurt all season too, so he's not. You haven't been able to really play Bradley Roby. I've had a couple of these Houston defensive backs on my team in a couple of leagues where I have to play some DBs. So I've known he's been out there on the waiver, but it's been because he's been hurt pretty much all season. So last night was a good game for him to come out and show that he's still a very capable individual.
We had 3 Saints players in the top, 18. You had Von Bell, who's been on this list, for a while. 5 solos, and I think he had a forced fumble. And then you had Eli Apple, who had 8 solos and assist. And then you had Marshawn Lattimore had 8 solos and an assist and a pass deflection. So to have 3 Saints cornerbacks and defensive backs on this list against Atlanta.
I mean,
in a close game, 26-18. So we had a lot of Saints in it. That's the crazy thing. A lot of Saints and a lot of Atlanta defensive players in this IDP week. When I would expect a big offensive, But see, that's why we love IDP. You know what I mean? Because these are guys that don't get enough praise. Where I talked about Devondre Campbell, Deion Jones. We got to always talk about our guy, Demario Davis. Had another big week. I mean, this guy he's got to be in our talk for biggest guy that we didn't expect it out of, right? Nobody was really talking about him except for us in the beginning of the year. People were off on the Saints linebackers. So, Demario Davis, middle linebacker, you got to expect some points out of the guy. And boom, 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 boom every week. This guy's
Yeah.
got to be. He's got to be in the top 5 linebacker when it's all said and done.
He's rock solid.
Yeah,
He has
he's awesome.
season, and he's got big playability. That's what you like. I mean, you like guys that are solid and offer a little bit, some of those extras, and he's definitely offered those extras all season.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be somebody we talk about when it's all said and done next week. So it's been crazy, man. It's crazy that we're in this conversation that next week is our finals week, right?
Yeah,
and going into the playoffs, and mind blown.
Season's wrapping up. It's wild.
It's okay. We got a lot of good content coming. So
we'll have a lot of stuff to dig through in the off season. A lot of evaluations, a lot of projections. So, but the actual fantasy football season will be over sooner than we'd like, unfortunately. But
that's for sure.
What you gonna do?
That's life, though. That's life.
Yep.
So we talk about going to the Senior Bowl, like we've been talking about expandtheboxscore.com, kind of setting us up pretty good right now. I mean, I'm as excited as anybody about you guys.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm ready to get there and spread the word about Expand the Box Score, meet some of these guys, these players, meet some of these coaches and some of these other people that are in, the actual football business, and let them know that we're out here, pumping up IDP fantasy football. I mean, fantasy sports is a $7 billion industry, you know what I mean? And most of that's fantasy football. A lot of it's DFS, but I mean, IDP, there's two sides of every football team. And these guys are seeing none of that love, none of that money. They're not able to build their brands. They don't get the same opportunities unless their last name on their jersey is Watt or Bosa. You know what I mean? And there's guys right next to him, named Buckner and Demario Davis. I mean, there are guys out there that they don't get the shine that they deserve. So if fantasy football, if some of these guys could get in on promoting IDP fantasy football, I mean, that could be huge for the whole defensive side of football players. It's going to take a couple of them to actually venture in and look at it and understand that it's out there. But I'm sure they go in the locker room and they hear Antonio Brown and Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon talking about being on fantasy football teams, and I'm sure they want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? Like, again, that's branding. I mean, when football's gone, what's left? These people need to know your name so that you can continue moving on and up in life. And
yeah, I mean, that's how these players are going to get the opportunity of more shows like Montez Sweat. The reason Montez Sweat is getting in commercials because his last name's Sweat. And they don't know him, right? I mean, we need guys like Devondre Campbell and Demario Davis and stuff like that. Could be bigger names and they're already really good people, right? So
everyone knows who Nick Bosa is, but how many people are talking about Josh Allen right now, who's basically having the same season Nick Bosa is having? Nobody. You know what I mean? And it's just because the name on his jersey is different. The jersey he wears is different. But the fantasy football community on defensive side, I mean, I tell you what, we know who he is. We know all about him. So, we can grow this part of the fantasy industry, and that's going to start at the Senior Bowl, some of these new up-and-comer guys, maybe get them to, look into it, pay attention a little bit more and help promote. And I think that it could blow up, and eventually, hopefully we can get some DFS stuff going, season-long stuff, best ball stuff, and it just becomes more normal, for people to be involved in this. So, and again, it's good for the players. I mean, it's just more exposure, I mean, how many people are sitting around today talking about Devin Bush and Devin White? Not many. We are. You know what I mean?
And thing is they should be.
And and that's right. And the fact of the matter is they should be. I mean, these are two of the better players from last year's draft class, two of the better players in the league right now. And because they, aren't running routes and aren't toting the ball and aren't throwing the ball, they're going to get maybe 30 seconds of airtime on anything.
Yep.
So if you're listening, guys, we're here to help you.
Here to change the game.
Yep.
So overall, that's pretty much all I got. I appreciate you guys as always. I mean, happy to be here. I can't tell you guys more than that. It's been a good year so far. So
Yeah, it's been a great season. Good luck to everybody out there as we prep up for that first week of the playoffs this next week. Hopefully we can smash some faces.
Hope you guys don't have too many injuries or players out.
Yeah. But
like we said, tonight's a big day. So some people could be losing or winning the game. I've had 3 or 4 guys messaging me like, "Hey, I need this person to go off tonight." And,
yep, I got a couple players I need to go.
Hold on, I'm just hoping for a Seahawks loss, which means the whole team didn't do very well. That's the way I look at it. So,
yep. All right. Well, I guess we'll sign out now. This has been the IDP 411 with Expand the Box Score. We love you guys. Thanks, IDP Army, for sticking around, sticking with us. And hopefully we're all in this next week in the playoffs, fighting. And hopefully we're going to win some IDP titles over here. So,
heck yeah. Fight the good fight.
Yep.